Betty and Veronica, Friends Forever, Fairy Tales #1, which is actually issue number 23 in the Betty and Veronica, Friends Forever series, as it says in the fine print there. You can see it in parentheses. So I like how they're keeping track of the number, the legacy number, if you will, of this series of one shots, because Archie has been releasing one shots of their classic Archie style, not the Archie horror or, any of the Riverdale type inspired comics, but the traditional classic looking Archie. They still release new comics in traditional comic book format, but they're they are one shots basically. So, but each issue starts with it has issue #1, and they usually have a theme. Sometimes it might be a Christmas Archie Christmas special, or some holiday special, or there's the ongoing Betty and Veronica Friends Forever series, which comes out like every 2 months or so. There'll be another issue. Always says issue #1 on the cover, and a different theme. And there's also Archie and Friends. So I have a subscription to the. It's called the. If you go to archiecomics.com, you can get a six issue subscription to the classic Archie comics, and that's what I have. So this is actually the second issue of my current subscription. The previous issue that I got was an Archie and Friends issue, the Archie and Friends racing one, uh, race car themed issue. Um, but anyway, so the funny thing about this, though, is that I got this yesterday on April 29th. Today's the 30th. And it actually doesn't come out in stores. It's not scheduled for release until May 8th. So, I've got it like 8 days earlier. So if you try to go into a comic shop and buy this, they won't sell it to you. But since I have a subscription, I have my copy already. And so I'm not going to show the whole thing because obviously it hasn't even come out yet. But they do have one new story in here, and that's how they usually do it with these Archie, current Archie one-shots. They'll have like one lead story that introduces a new character, and then the rest of the issue will just be reprints. But the good thing is there's no ads, and they're on nice paper. Incidentally, that's another thing about the subscriptions, is that if you buy it in stores, it's $3.99, as it says right there. But if you get a subscription, they usually have them on. They have specials and stuff like that where you can get them at a lower price. So my price was like $2.50 per issue, for a 6 issue subscription. It was like $13 or $14, maybe less. I think it was about $13. Free shipping. You can pay via PayPal. So it's great. I recommend it if you're a fan of Archie comics and want to get them. So it's nice to be able to get these in the mail like this. I mean, they come in a little plastic wrapper too. People sometimes wonder about the condition. The only thing is you can't even tell. There is sort of a little indentation here, sort of like a little bend that it got in the mail, but you can't even really tell unless you put your fingers on it and feel up and down. So that will probably just flatten out eventually as I have it in a box, and other things are pressed against it. Eventually it'll be like how people press their comics. Well, he'll probably naturally press out. Anyways, having said all that, this first story is written by Goldie Chan, who I've not heard of before, and written and penciled and inked by the father and son team of Bill Galvin and Ben Galvin, who also did the cover. You notice Betty is sort of reversing the gender roles here because she's rescuing Archie. She's the one that swinging on the rope or whatever, saving him. But the funny thing is I thought actually the first story, the new story, which is only like 5 pages long, I thought it was actually the weakest story in the issue. It was. I don't think it was well written at all. I mean, the art is okay. It looks nice. It looks classic Archie. I have no complaints about the art. And the writing is okay, but it was a little could have been better. there's a lot of puns. Like every single thing that people say in this story are sort of like puns about eggs and things like that. I don't know why it was all about eggs. But there's the new character. Cassie Cloud is her name. I'm a new egg to this Riverdale village. And anyways, there's that story. Then there's a reprint, Archie's Fables, old favorites retold in teenage tempo. Now this is a story starring Betty, and it's reenacting the Three Bears fairy tale. Now this story is only 3 pages long, but and it's from 1954. Now originally it didn't have the credits. They give the credits there: script Frank Doyle, pencils Sam Schwartz, inks Bill Vigoda. You can kind of tell it's Sam Schwartz because of the way he would draw noses like that with that little opening, to the side. But so it has his style. But the funny thing is, this is from 1954, and I actually thought it was, that's like what, 60 years ago. But I thought it was much better written than the lead story that was brand new, that is a current story. It's a lot funnier. It reminded me almost like a Mad Magazine parody of like a fairy tale story. In fact, there's this one bit here where there's like a Mr. Weatherby and Miss Grundy lookalikes here, where the guy says, she was like, "Oh, I thought you were the Three Bears," because she's staying in their house. "And you don't look like Three Bears to me." And he says, "Bears? Schmares. Who knows from bears? You want bears? Go to the zoo. Who ever heard of bears living in a house? What are you, crazy or something?" And I was like, Boar is the name. Anyways, so some of the lines in here were just kind of laugh out funny. It's like when she tastes the porridge and was like, "Oh, that one's too hot. That one's too cold. Oh, that one's just right. But, I hate porridge. It makes me nauseous." Anyways, I just thought it was a funny story. Now, surprisingly, the last story in the issue is a 20-page story. So usually they have like maybe about 5 stories. This issue only has 3 stories. The first story is only like 5 pages long. The second story is 3 pages long. And then there's like a 20-page story. This is written and drawn by Dan Parent. And it's not much of a Betty and Veronica story, actually. It's more of an Archie story. And in fact, it's a reprint of... There was a 2-part Archie comic story in the actual Archie series in 2012, I think, something like that. It was a 2-part story. So the first issue ran 20 pages. The second part of the storyline was the next issue. It ran another 20 pages. So it's altogether, it's like a 40-page story. So for some reason, they decided to run this where you're just getting part 1. So it ends on a cliffhanger. So you don't even know how it ends. I don't know why they decided to do that. And plus, it's like I said, the art focuses on Archie. There's more of Midge in this story as a toad than there is of Betty and Veronica. So I don't know exactly why they chose this story, other than maybe they thought it was, worth reprinting because they thought it was good. It does, takes advantage of the modern way of, having a comic look, because there's no white panel borders and things like that. It just goes, full bleed pages, and probably would appeal more to modern Archie readers. So in that sense, it's worth reprinting and so forth. But I just thought, maybe it doesn't really make much sense for the Betty and Veronica title. I don't want to show the whole thing of that, but we will show there's like the end, it says. But of course, like I said, there's actually a part 2 to the story, which we don't get to see. Then there's the editor's notebook. And one of the funny things is here he says, this issue is filled with work by all-time Archie legends like writer Frank Doyle, artist Harry Lucy, and Bill Vigoda. Well, there's no Harry Lucy in this comic. It was Sam Schwartz. So, Sam Schwartz did that 3-pager from uh, the Three Bears one that we looked at, from 1954. There is some nice, unpublished artwork there. He's showing like alternate versions of the cover of this issue. And then it shows the preview of what the next issue in this series is going to be, or like I said, or at least my subscription is going to be. It's the Archie and Friends series, which is, part of the classic mega sub is what they call it on the website. So I'll be getting this issue when it comes out. Who knows? I may get it even before June 5th, which is the official release date. So this is the next title in the classic Archie one-shot series. And that's it. So I enjoyed it. Is it worth $4, $3.99? If you buy it at the store. Well, I mean, that's the going price of a standard comic book. So if you were to buy this or the Flash or Shazam, I don't know, it might be the similar. You might get as much out of this as you would out of those. I don't know. Depends on your taste in comics. But but it is mostly reprints. But on the other hand, if you haven't read the stories before, then it's all new to you, anyways. So I enjoyed it. I don't want to talk too much about it. Like I said, this comic hasn't even officially come out yet, so I don't want to spoil it too much. Obviously, for people who haven't seen it and may want to be surprised by its contents. But in that case, you probably shouldn't have clicked the video. Sorry about that. But anyway, so yeah, but I do recommend the subscription. Like I said, I got it early. I got it for, a lot less than the cover price, and came in good condition. And it's an enjoyable little read. It's a light read. It's probably not something I'm going to reread anytime soon, unlike, the issue Detective Comics that I reviewed earlier today. And so I enjoy it. I'm glad that Archie is still publishing comics in this format, in the traditional regular size, and using the classic Archie characters. So that's it. Betty and Veronica, Friends Forever, Fairy Tales. Thanks for watching.